Welcome to Becoming More. I'm Diana Kokoska, and today we're going to be talking about that thing that no one wants to talk about, money. Now, money is good for the good it can do, so we do need to learn about money. And Marissa today is going to be helping us because she's written a book, Living Life Rich. Now, I don't know about you, it sounds pretty doggone good to me to live life rich. Money is something that we all need. Like Zig Ziglar taught me, that money's like oxygen. You need it to live. So let's dive right in, where Marissa Nehlsen will be helping us learn how to live life rich.
Hello. Thanks for having me. This is so exciting. I'm so glad to be in the room with you.
Oh my word, we've been in so many rooms together, and each and every time I learn, you have such a wealth of knowledge to help with us. I mean, being the founder and CEO of an 8-figure debt-free financial firm, that alone grabbed my attention. And you manage over 1 billion of assets across 46 states. So let's start out, because you didn't start out with all of that. Nobody handed you this firm, for heaven's sakes. You started out with $5 in a coffee can. Building to an 8-figure firm. Okay, I want to know, what was the turning point in that story?
Yeah, I grew up in the trailer courts, and I had unfortunately made some decisions looking for love in all the wrong places when you don't have a daddy present. And I moved 2 doors down from my mother at 18 years old when I was pregnant with my first baby, had my first child. And my aunt gave me like this start. She was in the insurance industry, and she said, "Hey, Marissa, I think, yeah," she said, "you need to make some money, first of all, because you're living 2 doors down and you're completely broke." And she had always been into like personal growth and mindset and you name it. She was part of it. The Zig Ziglars, the Jim Rohn, those kind of that world. And she said, "Hey, I think you should come to work with me, and I'll give you $5." I had literally $5 in a coffee can. That was it. She said, "I think you should come to work with me, and I'll give you $5 for every call you set up for me to schedule appointments. So I'll come to town for 3 days at a time, and you'll schedule me for appointments, and it'll be $5 a call." Now, keep in mind, Diana, this was like 33 years ago, and for me to make $60 a day, because I was booking 12 appointments a day for this woman, right? And I would just pick up the phone, and I'm calling. But getting around her, hearing that mentorship from her every time she'd come to town, that's $60 a day, or $5 basically for every appointment. Uh, it it was the most valuable money I've ever earned in my life. Literally the most valuable money I've ever earned. Because
Well, and right
yeah,
there, you gave us such a great lesson. I remember Zig Ziglar saying it's the proximity of people, as he sat at our kitchen table, and I go, okay, who I hang out with matters, who I listen to. So you're listening to her,
yeah.
learning from her. What's something that maybe you picked up from her during that lead generation that really helped you?
Yeah, when you're starting out in business, or even when you're just kind of new to this and seasoned, is there's something you can learn every day and apply every day. So I would hear her as she interacted with clients. And Warren Buffett talks about this. Like, his number one skill is not actually money. His number one skill is communication. Right? It's how you communicate with people, and how you really understand a situation. So she asked a lot of questions. And so I got good at asking questions like, what's
Mm.
most important to you? What do you value? Now, this is 30 years ago, when it was really about product sales back then. And she would say, "What do you value? What's important to you?" Uh, and she was selling insurance, right? So that was part of it, part of the kind of the pitch. But the most important thing that she really gave me was these little snippets of how do you work with different types of people and what they value. So whatever it is that they said, she would turn it back into something else that could lead them to the outcome they wanted to achieve.
And isn't that what business is about? Helping other people get what they want so you
Yeah.
eventually get what you want. That's another Zig Ziglar thing,
Oh
right? He
yeah, it's
just
one of my
keeps coming
favorites.
back.
Yeah.
Well,
Love it.
you've literally started and founded 5 self-managing companies. and you've coached thousands of entrepreneurs. So having those questions really does do help. But let me ask you, man, what what do you wish every entrepreneur understood about money? Because it's something nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah. I think there's four really important principles when it comes to your money of areas you need to focus on. And it's not just one thing. And these are not handoffs that you give to someone else. You have to have the base understanding of how to build your team with the core four. And what are the core four? Tax, legal, risk, and wealth. Those are four different areas, but it's like how your body works together. You're not going anywhere without your heart beating. You're not going anywhere if the blood isn't pumping, right? You're not going anywhere if your brain isn't moving you and the messages it sends to your arms and your legs. These four things are so connected. It's like the Mayo Clinic of finance. So I wish every entrepreneur would understand there's a level of getting your advisors connected, your people and your plan and that outcome, not just for you, but for your business. You want to think of your business as a person, as a living being. I know that sounds goofy, but your business is not just an asset to you. It for me, there are many different types of business owners: purpose-driven business owners, mission-driven business owners. But your business is this thing that can multiply. So those four core areas: tax, legal, risk, and wealth, getting those coordinated, asking the right questions to your accountant, attorney, financial advisor, insurance provider. And then the last one is the big five, baby. This is the number five. This is the big kahuna of, that's great. I'm glad you have those four, but you got to have the fifth. And so the power is in the coordination and the coaching and the vision of your vision coming to fruition. And you got to have a point person for this. So when you think about this in your business, you are the visionary,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got an integrator. And for me, that's your mentor or your coach that's helping that team come together. It's keeping the eye on the ball. We're running 100 miles an hour with our face on fire.
Well,
And
and
so,
most of them, they're very good at business. Most of us
yes.
are excellent at business, and we coordinate all these different things. Yet, when it comes to our money, getting all of those people in the same room or on the same phone,
Mm-hmm.
having the vision and carrying that through, especially with all the tax items that are changing right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're actually helping people with generational wealth
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of articles out there. You've read them. Many of the people listening to this have read them about how you're actually putting your kids in debt because you don't have your finances in order.
Yeah.
Reinvesting, investing in things, ignoring tax strategies. You help people with tax strategies. So talk a little bit about that. Why is that important?
Yeah. Every dime you give away to the tax collector is one less dime that you can use for your vision to come to fruition. Like we can use, I believe we can use our resources to change the world. It's our time, our energy, and our money. And those three things are connected every single time. They are connected every single time. What you do with your time, what you do with your energy, and what you do with those resources. So those dollars that go away, let's just talk really practical on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you gave away $20,000 this last year because you overpaid on taxes, because you just didn't get the right advice, right? There are two
Right.
different types of people we work with: tax strategists and tax preparers. Tax preparers say, ding, 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 ding. They add up all your numbers. This is what you owe. Tax strategists say, ding, 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 ding. Here's what you owe. Here's three options of what you're going to do to make that difference so you can keep more of that money in your pocket, give more of those dollars to organizations and groups, maybe nonprofits, maybe organizations that are important to your heart. There is a bunch of organizations that help me, people that fed me when I'm living in the trailer court with my mom, single mom, and 8 kids, when we
Mm.
were at total poverty, that showed up with the Horn of
Um,
Plenty or different organizations that would bring us food baskets. And when I think about that now in the position I'm in today, I want to seed organizations that are changing
right.
mindset movements, that are changing money movements, that are ending poverty. That is why I'm doing this. I want to help you end poverty in those 5 core areas of your life.
Yeah, well, and it's who we give to. I love that you brought up because CPAs, a lot of them, like you say, hey, here's what you owe. They have no strategy whatsoever. And yet you
Yeah.
help people with that. So it helps them
Yes.
actually pay less taxes. And
Yeah.
this is what I loved about what you said. You can pay the government or you can help feed other people and change the world. You can help invest in mindsets and that. And a
Wait,
lot of
one
people,
quick thing on that, Diana. There are three places that you can leave your money for this stuff. This is generational, real quick, because you
right.
mentioned generational debt and wealth and transition of that. There are three places you can leave your money when you die. You can leave it to the IRS if you're in the United States. You can leave it to your family, and you can leave it to a charity. If you have not done proper planning with your tax plan and your estate plan, the default is the IRS. You must
Yeah.
pick two out of the three. The default is the IRS. So when you think about who are you working for and towards, where would you rather see that legacy go? To the IRS? To things that may not conform with who you are and the values that you bring? Or would you rather leave it in as seeds that grow and build something, and create something that makes a real difference? And just a real practical question is,
Mhm.
do you have a strategy every year when you go see your accountant? And does your accountant understand what your top five values are and what are your money priorities? You must ask that question. What are my money priorities? Does my accountant understand those? And what are the strategies? That's a question I asked that accountant today. What are the strategies you're deploying this year based on current tax law to help us keep more of what we make and position it to the things we value?
Well, and the interesting part too is I think that people need to meet with their tax strategists more than like at the end of the year, which you always recommend.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I think is interesting is how many people that I've spoken with, and these are top notch, very, very astute people that really don't know the difference between all the trusts that are available. What's the difference between a will and a trust, and LLC and a corporation. Now, if they're in business, they understand that.
Yeah.
Yet, why are we not teaching our kids these types of things? If I open up a trust when I'm 26, that's a whole lot different than waiting until I'm 70 and I've accumulated wealth, right?
Yeah. 100%. My children have corporations today.
See, I
My
think that
children,
is so smart.
if you want to really really help your kids and build some generational wealth, and I don't care if you're 75 in the room, 50 in the room, or 30 in the room. This is a principle about what the difference between what rich people do and what broke people do. And by the way, rich people and broke people have the same amount of one thing. They have the same amount of one thing, and it's time, right? So, what we do with our time, are we watching Netflix or are we taking 15 minutes a day to learn and just ask those right questions? Because there's a lot of information out there, but I think it's really taking that information and applying it in a way. This is why that team that I talked about, tax, legal, risk, and wealth,
Mm-hmm.
coming together, why the coordination of that team with your vision and your plan is so important if you're going to build a freedom plan.
Well, a lot of people, I've heard them talk about financial freedom all the time, yet few define it. So, what does it actually mean to you having financial freedom?
Yeah, so having financial freedom is a freedom plan that creates a few things for you. So I'll define it very quickly. The freedom plan for me is when I can say who, what, when, and where with my time, energy, and money. Who, what, when, and where with my time, energy, and money. I am financially free when I'm able to say that. Now, what you need in order for that to happen is you need to understand your freedom sources. Where's the money going to come from for
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle and expenses and world that you live in? You need to understand your freedom date. When will I have enough money from those sources to not only create that income today, but sustain it for the future and keep some growth going? And then understanding between your freedom sources, your freedom number. The most important thing is that freedom number. What's the number that you're
Mhm.
going to define is the amount I need to live on per year? Is it 100,000? Is it 200,000? Is it 500,000 in a year? If it's $500,000 a year, till Jesus takes us home, or the other guy, right? Let's just have a little fun with this. Okay. Just everybody relax. I'm not trying to convert you. Just take a breath. Okay. But when you ask that question, like my freedom number, this money's got to sustain you for a period of time. So how's that freedom sources? Do you understand those freedom sources? In my upcoming book, I talk about there are 8 streams of income, and I define exactly how to build out your freedom number, your freedom plan. Of course, it consists of 3 things: freedom number, freedom sources, and freedom date.
It's about living life rich. I love that title, by the way. The Psychology of Money has always been one of my favorite money books. Yours might take its place based on everything that you're saying. So you've worked with a lot of incredibly successful clients. What mindsets do you think set them apart? Because as you know, I do a lot with mindsets and coach to mindsets, how to change mindsets, have an assessment around mindsets. How important is that when it comes to money?
There are several mindsets that I have identified and adopted over my 30 years. Because as you begin to grow and you get around the right people and you're in those rooms, it's that proximity that you talked about earlier, Diana. That was brilliant, by the way. That's just so good. The first one I would share with you is really the attitude in which they see the world. Did this thing happen to me, or did it happen for me? That's a big one. And it's like that old conversation where you see that person coming, and you go, I'm ducking behind a bush, because every time I'm with them, they're an anaconda and they suck the life out of me, and I just I feel like a vacuum cleaner of awful has just hit my soul, and it just sucks my soul out, right? So these people have a positive mental attitude. They're approaching the day that, regardless of conditions and circumstances, it's not what necessarily happened to them, because there's a lot of bad things that happen in the world. We get into accidents. There's bad medical things that happen, but that the responsibility is ours in what we do with it, right?
Right.
And how they see gratitude in the world. I would call that. I literally keep this on my desk. I just pulled it over here. I keep this on my desk. It's a kaleidoscope.
I love that.
And it's perspective for me. So when I put this up and I turn the kaleidoscope, every time you see one of these things, it's a reminder for me that I can have a perspective in a different way. And there's always a way if I'm committed. There's always a way if I'm committed. It's you keep going until you figure out, until this day will pass. Every day I wake up above ground, I get a new opportunity. It's the never waste a day people that I hang out with.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I have a kaleidoscope right back here too. And I love that because everything changes with everything. It's all about perspective. We know that.
Yeah.
And one of your frameworks that you talk about is firing your worst business partner, the tax collector. I love that. I thought when I heard that, I went, I love that statement. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, in the United States, there are 2 sets of tax systems. Now, when you hear this, you go, what are you talking about, lady? There's one tax system, right? No, nope. There are 2 systems, one for the informed, one for the uninformed.
That's good.
Both are legal. Both are legal. So when you begin to think about this a little bit differently, and you get really, really serious about taking back what you have earned, there's an entire document that gives you hope to do this. Now, I'll just give you something really, really practical for all the entrepreneurs that are listening today. Right, and they change this in the code often. They change this, it was on front page of your 1040 online, for many, many, many years. Now they have changed it to Schedule 1. Want to write this down? Schedule 1, page 2, line 16. And in this line, there's a little section of the code. I'm a big nerd, Diane. I'm a big nerd. Okay, I'm a research
I love
nerd.
that you're giving this. That's why I'm just smiling all over the place because I'm going, oh my goodness. All right, let's go with it.
Let me nerd out for one more second. Go to page 1, pardon me, Schedule 1, page 2, line 16, and there's a little word there that it says simples and SEPs and all these things, and it's qualified plans. This is a whole section of the Internal Revenue Code that allows you to make large item deductions into things like retirement, which are 100% tax deductible to you in this part of the code. And if you are correctly set up, and I'm going to take you back to what I gave you for the core 4 earlier, right? The core 4,
Right.
tax, legal, risk, and wealth. If you are structured correctly in your businesses, you can take advantage of this whole section of the code, which rich people know how to do. I actually had a billionaire teach me about this line 25 years ago. And he said, listen, you want to change the world, you better figure out wealth real quick, honey. And he was kind of being a little condescending.
Yeah.
Now,
No.
perspective on this 25 years ago, I could have said, that guy doesn't know nothing. And what I said instead, which came from my aunt who was mentoring me at the time, she said, listen, you're going to have a lot of haters along the way. You're going to have a lot of people along the way who are going to shut you down and make you feel stupid and you don't know the answer. Go find the answer.
Yeah.
Don't let that be the end of the day. Go win the day by making sure you're doing enough research. So when you're firing your worst business partner ever, which every one of us in this room who is making money of any amount in the United States is making this, you are paying an additional 15.3% self-employment tax on top of your income tax level, on top of your state tax level. And depending on the state you live in, that could be significant. You're paying real estate taxes. If you start adding up all the taxes that you pay in a year, you could be well over 50% or 55% in taxes. You're going to give half your year and half your work and half your cash to the tax collector? No, not in our world.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
And then when you die, you're going to give them even more. So as we
Yeah.
look at all of these things, I mean, little things, I was surprised when I was listening to you one time and you talked about taking, if you wear shoes only on stage, you can take it as a deduction. And people were going, what? And I go, wait, you haven't heard about that? I heard about that when I was like 15 years old. And
Yeah.
I'm going, wow, how lucky was I? I just thought every kid learned this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so when you said what you said, and I looked, and these were great people with great businesses, their jaws dropped and said, I can do that. And I went, oh my word, Marissa, people need you. I didn't realize how much had not been taught in our schools or through our families or through the advisors. Most people don't even have a financial advisor.
Yeah, or if they have a financial advisor, in their mind, they have a financial advisor who's kind of looking at the whole thing, but really it's an investment guy that's selling them products.
Yeah.
Or it's and I don't mean to, that's not a male bashing thing. It's just a person that's selling them products, right? Okay, relax, everyone who's like, I can't believe she said that in today's world. Relax, okay, just relax. The message here is this: who are they working for? Are you in partnership with them or not? Because if you're in partnership with an advisory team, when I say partnership, anything that it costs you to do business with them, you should be saving 10x.
Yeah, they've got to give you a return on your investment as well. And I think a lot of people don't
Yes.
look at that. I mean, when the taxes and you look at all the deductions that you can have. I don't know what your tax returns look like. Ours was like 172 pages. And I went, oh my gosh, this is getting so crazy. And I'm sure yours is even more than that. So let's talk about this team that you have. How often do you think they should get together?
Okay, so everyone can build this team. Everyone who's listening, you can build it at whatever level you're at today, okay? The quicker you build your freedom team, the better. The more efficient you will be, your business will be, and your money will be. Now, I want you to start thinking about your money as your best employee. And that best employee works 24/7. That best employee works when you're sleeping, when you're eating, when you're on vacation, when you're going to work in the next room. Your money's over there working in the next room. So the freedom team consists of your advisory team. It's your accountant, your attorney, your financial people, like your financial advisor or investment person, an insurance person, that's for risk management. It's a coach or a mentor that's going to help you in that money plan, but they aren't typically all the same person. These are not the same person because it's much like walking into an operating room. If you got a ticker problem and you go see your local doctor, I'm talking about a heart issue now.
I
Okay.
know what you're talking
Okay.
about. I think that's so cute.
Okay, I grew up where the real people come from, so I just like people are like, God, that girl is so country. Yeah, I am. I grew up rock picking, so
Yeah.
I learned the value of $1 rock picking when I was a kid, going through the fields and picking rocks. The hard work is in my blood. So when you got a ticker problem, you go get an opinion from your doctor. Well, if your regular local doctor said, "Hey, Diana, you know what? I watched a couple YouTube videos on this, and I've always wanted to try this. Let's go to the back room, and I'd like to cut you open and see if I could just suck out the old issue in the aorta," right? And you'd be
Right.
like, "I'm sorry, no, thank you. I want a whole team." Not only do you want a whole team, but you want a second opinion on that team. And you're going to go in and you're going to find the best cardiologist, you're going to find the best heart surgeon. And when you go for the operating day, you want an anesthesiologist. That's the person that's going to make it not hurt so bad. You want palliative care people. Those are the drug people. Make friends with them quick, right? Because it's going to hurt
Yeah.
when you wake up.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes away the pain.
Yeah. So you got all these people that are going into the room. You got the technician, right? The person that goes, right? That's the person that's like sucking out all the nasty. And you got all those people that are coming around the table to make sure that one problem is solved. The problem that needs to be solved is you walk off that table better than when you came in.
That's right.
Now, your freedom team, accountant, attorney, financial advisor, insurance person, is instructed by you to work together. So you say, hey guys, I know that each one of you are awesome professionals in your area. This is my vision. My coach is going to help me integrate that. And you could be the coach if you need to, if you aren't hiring a coach to do this. The more successful you are, the less time you have.
That's right.
And so there is value in having an integrator integrate your world and report back and make sure it's meeting all the metrics and all the measurables of that time, energy, money equation. And so I'm a big fan of, I only really do about 5 things. I really only do about 5 things. And then I do great cannonballs in the pool with my grandkids. That's number 6. Okay. I'm excellent.
You
I'm
know
really
what's
good at 6.
important though is people hire all these people to take work off of their plate,
Yeah.
and yet they don't hire the right financial people to
Right.
get things off of their plate in the area of money that means the most, because you can't live without it. Like Zig Ziglar said, it's like oxygen, you need it. So I want just to kind of start wrapping this up, and I want to get to your book before it's over, that's for sure. But what is one step that somebody could take today to start living life rich?
So the way I define living life rich is emotionally, relationally, spiritually, physically, and financially. It's really having an intentional life. And I would love to see you redefine how you look at wealth and intentional living. It's not one or the other, it's those together. They are like the sisterhood of the traveling pants. They fit everyone. Okay?
Yeah.
If you've seen the movie, it's a great movie.
Yes.
But this is how I look at life. I think, okay, one practical thing that you could do today is ask yourself, what's the best next step for me to take control of my finances? Is it to get myself organized? Is it that could be you. You could say, I'm just disorganized. I put my head in the sand. I don't want to look at it. Well, then you got to get somebody who gets you organized. I met with a mutual friend recently that we were just talking about prior to this. We got to get her organized. She's 100 miles an hour with her face on fire. The woman works 80 hours a week. There's no way she can do all this stuff, right? She's got to have somebody in her court taking care of that thing and reporting back to her that has nothing in it from her, but everything in it
Yeah.
for her to get the results she wants. The second thing that I would share with you is if maybe you got time to do that, is do you have a resource of knowing what needs to be organized so you can start your team? And I would say to begin to write down, what do you believe your very next step is if you don't know your next step, well, first of all, I would just tell you there's like 100 podcasts on this, on how to take the next right step with money or finance. But I think there's another piece to that. If you're going to take a next step, who are you going to do it with?
No,
Because
that's huge. It's
yeah,
it's the who, not the what. That's for
yeah,
certain.
yes.
Yeah.
So who's your people that are going to help you get organized, get accountable, get a money plan in place? What's the resource or tool that you're going to begin to apply? But then who are you going to be accountable with to stay on track with that plan? Like if you're broke or you're in debt, stop digging a hole for your own financial death, right? Like stop putting money on credit cards. Now you go, well, I don't know how to do that because that's how I live and buy groceries today. Let's look at what does that financial budget look like? And nobody likes to hear that word, but what are your resources? So we know what can we cut for a short period of time. This is not forever, it's just for today.
Yeah. So let's talk about your book because everyone should be buying this. It's going to be on Amazon starting July 1st. Is that correct?
Well, okay, so Diana, this thing had to get pushed back a little bit. When I
Oh
got
boy.
when I got the jacket in, the jacket cover was not what my vision was, and when I do things, we do it the full enchilada, and we do it until it's right. Until it is right. So anybody out there that is like an until it is right person with me. So so we're looking at that first week of August now. It'll
Okay.
be about a month past that, the first week of August. And you can actually get uh, you can actually get that pre-sale right now if you go to Amazon and be the first to make sure it's in your mailbox, it's in your book. We can get it on Kindle. It's Barnes and Noble. It's going to be sold pretty much everywhere. But there is that Amazon, of course, is the best place to go. And the pre-sales are out there now. Now, for those that do the pre-sales, the cool part about this is when we're doing this recording, we have a whole set for anybody who does pre-sales. There's going to be a workbook. There's going to be a couple of calls that you can do with me, and I'll do Q&A on those calls as well.
Oh, that was good.
And so, which is a huge opportunity for the community that buys in prior, because all of those will be set, give you some time to read that book. And then you'll be able to come back and I'll take you through parts of it that will really help you in our book club.
Well, and you've helped so many people. I love the one statement that you said, make certain that they're for you. They don't want something from you. And
Yeah.
that's what I find for you is you're always wanting the very, very best for everyone. And you and I connected on our very first trip that we took together with John Maxwell. And it was so much fun getting to know you because you are just down to earth. Both of us came from nothing. We've
Yeah.
built, we've worked, and we've taken responsibility. The greatest part that you're doing is you're helping people take responsibility with their money and doing things with their money that they don't know how to do. It's not that they don't desire to do it. It's not that they don't want to do it. They just don't know who to turn to. So
Yeah.
how can they reach out to you? Because you are a great who.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, and just as a side note here, Miss Diana, I would carry that little red wagon around with you and pull that wagon behind you for years, because I just want to be in the same room and listen and learn. You are a great resource for so many in the area of money and finance. So you can find me at liveliferichbook.com. You can find me at liveliferichbook.com. I have a podcast called Live Life Rich. You can find me there as well. All my contact information. If you just go to marissanehlsen.com, my website is there. I've got resources there, things that we want to do to help people. But I would tell you, if you're in that place, why I wrote this book is so that I could take your hand, literally, take your hand, take this book in hand, take your hand and guide you. I'm not a guru. I don't believe in gurus. I don't think there's gurus. I believe in people that are a little farther along in a little different journey, have
That's
got
good.
a little past where you're at, and they take your hand and they say, I'm not going to give you a hand out, but I'm going to give you a hand up. And I'm going to walk with you as a guide in this next part in your journey. And you're moving farther along. You're just taking one step forward with each other together. So between the book and the book club that I'll be doing, this is where the Who's Your Who. I'm a big fan of Q&A. And so we'll be covering those things in the book club and really helping people apply it to where they're at. But it's really practical, tactical, and it's not just financial stuff, because that can get real boring and real salty for me real fast. Um, it is it is really about how do you create your intentional rich life using your time, your energy, your money, these resources, and you make that your superpower. Because if you're an entrepreneur in this room, you were not listening to this by accident. You didn't accidentally just trip on this whole conversation between me and Diana today. It's because there's something in this for you that's going to serve you, and you don't necessarily need me to do it, but I'd love to guide you in the process, because I want to see 100,000 people get financially free in the next 12 months.
Well,
100,000 people. We
I,
can
I
do that.
love that because here's the interesting part. In our trust, we actually have stipulations for people before they get the money. And one of those is they have to take a financial class that I've written. And now I'm going to get your book because see, buy a book for yourself. Buy a book for your kids. If you have grandkids, buy a book for them. And I don't care how old they are. Put it in the safe, put it somewhere so when they get old enough, they can read it. Because the faster that we can learn about money, the better off we're going to be, because we are taught to multiply it, not put it in the ground thinking it's going to grow. I mean, Marissa, a lot of people, they put money in a savings account and go, woohoo, I'm
Yeah.
getting interest. And the interest isn't even keeping up with inflation. They're losing money every single month. And so you help people multiply. Well, your book help us multiply it.
Yeah, 100%. This is one of the reasons I wrote this book for two reasons. One, because there's a whole lot of people that I will never be able to just sit and talk to one-to-one, face-to-face. And I wanted to leave a tool that would be a really practical tool that entrepreneurs who, by the way, solve problems, make a difference in our communities,
Yeah,
employ people. We run this country. We run this world. Entrepreneurs are
that's
problem
right.
solvers. And the second reason I wrote the book is for my children and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren,
Oh,
because they're
so good.
principles on money that will generationally multiply.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way we desire it because they say that most generational wealth doesn't go past the first generation. And
Yeah.
as you watch it over and over and over again, it doesn't go past maybe the second. The third is the longest I've ever heard it going. So thank you for being on the podcast. And listen, everyone, subscribe to Becoming More. More importantly, run out there, pre-order the book so you can be part of it. Get all of those free things that Marissa is going to be giving to all of us. And I can't wait to read this book. In fact, I've known you long enough that when you said you were writing it, I said, I want the first copy.
Diana, girl, I got one for you, and the next time we're in a room together, I'm bringing one for you, and I am so excited. You have added so much value to me, and I am so grateful for the work that
You
you
are.
do in the world. So please, please, as you're reading this, if there's something I can do, go to that marissanehlsen.com, reach out, and we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you the resource you need, because if you're listening, we need to be equipped. And I believe in being an equipper in the world. We can educate, empower, and equip people to make great, really rich life decisions.
Well, and I love what you're doing for so many people. I know you're in 46 states, soon to be in 15 around the world. So I applaud you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, friend.